Hey there, how's it going? This is bigSHow, theGod. It's been a while. Just quickly, I've been a bit injured, so it knocks me around a little bit. I had a lot of pain around my ankle and stuff. So anyway, been working through that. My topic today was going to be on the complicated series. Was a bit about something I've been contemplating a bit. Was sort of combines with I guess cognitive biases that I have and tools I've been using to work through my biases. Whether you agree or not, I think I have biases. I think everyone does. Cognitive biases. If you read up on cognitive biases, look at the list. There's plenty of stuff out there to sort of read through. I guess at some stage, I've used all of them. And I suppose understanding and having the self-awareness that I have them enables me to kind of work through them as best as I can. So if I just do one bias of the list of biases, you know, a good one for me is the blind spot bias. And regardless of how much I think I've worked on myself and how much I think on my critical thinking and my skeptical thinking ways through it, there's probably still some degree of bias in there. And I'll stick that with a blind spot. You know, it's like thinking you're less biased. You may be, it's almost like you can be biased at any moment on any particular subject. I can have a bias towards it. And that's just because of, you know, something as simple as having some anchoring bias. I've used previous information. Will the All Blacks win today? Without knowing anything, I'd probably go yes. Having not looked at anything else, right? That's a bias I have. But like the gambler's fallacy, it's a bit because I've won 5 times on a particular move or gamble when I'm gambling or making decisions without a lot of information, and I got it right, doesn't mean the next time it's going to be right, if that's your model, right? So I spend a lot of time working through the best I can on the information I have of looking for my blind spot biases. And it takes a lot of work. I genuinely won't find my bias, right? So one of the tools I use is to share the information, share what I'm thinking or my process is, and then try to look at it from that perspective, share it, and then what feedback I get, I have to make sure I try my best to listen to that feedback as best I can. Which is interesting because the feedback you can lead into another bias. It's like, I think it's called the ostrich bias, because I'll ignore that feedback if it doesn't go with my decision or my choice I've made, so if it doesn't fit with that, it gets complicated, right? All of a sudden, I think to have a better blind spot to my biases, I share it to get feedback. But any negative or any feedback that I'm ignoring, that has my bias connected to it, correct? And I think there's good reasons to ignore that bit of advice or that feedback or that piece. But even in saying all that, there's still levels of what I'm willing to assert that is a bias. And that's why I generally use the critical and skeptical thinking until I have that way of thinking about things, until some more information or some more evidence or some more valid reasoning allows me to accept that, and then what to do about it and what actions I would have to take. So yeah. So built on that, so we've established that I've got biases. But one of the tools I'm using at the moment is to be skeptical, to be critical thinking and skeptical thinking. So these are on the decisions. These are on the bigger questions that I've got around my life, around what decisions I've got within my world. I seldom wrestle all day with decisions that relate to America, systemic racism. I don't spend all day concerning myself with those. It's something I might ponder on a little bit, but I'm not going to focus and delve into that. I kind of make sure that most of this is coming from internal, where I am at within my stuff, with enough of a distance from it to try and work through decisions and plans and processes that are related to myself and the people connected to me. And I generally find that I have the most what's the word? I have the most measurable progress doing that. Yeah, that's probably the case. Right or wrong, it seems to be where I'm at. So, knowing those pieces, can do it again, that I'm biased, that I'm using critical and skeptical thinking. What's a tool that I've found that's sort of merged the two together? And one that I've been using for the last sort of probably 12 months, maybe. A lot of the stuff I've been using, but it's how it's framed and how it's put together to explain to me what I'm doing or not doing or have been doing. So one of them was just an acronym, ANT. So I started with that acronym and I read about it for a bit. And ANTS stands for, from this book, active, negative, thoughts. Active negative thoughts. And I found that fascinating. And that triggered me to understand active negative thoughts that I'm having all day, every day, right? Whether I'm just framing it in a very simple 3-word statement, and then I'm going to expand on that. So active negative thoughts. And I thought about that, and I go, yeah, I'm having those, and it's from stories that I tell myself, from insecurities I have, from events that I didn't enjoy. Whether it's from losing a game, from lying to someone and being caught, from and I can go back I'm 50 years old, so I can go back over a 30-year, 40-year time span and look at all those events that included those 3 things, and the outcome and the event of it, and what it may have entailed and not entailed, and how it affected my character and my emotional state, and whether that was just me armoring up and always when this happened, I did that, and I did that to combat that, and did that, and all this extra crap around just owning what I'd done. So I frame that as now just active negative thoughts. So I guess part of what's happened to me as well is that even when I start changing my behavior consciously and habitually and disciplinarily, I start doing that, time goes on, but the mind can still be back here, that I'm that. An example, I stopped drinking alcohol when I was 31 years old. I have not drunk since then alcohol at any level. And there's bits around that choice and decision. But I'm now 51. Okay? So that's a 20-year timeline of me not doing that particular thing. And that's just one of the things. There's more bits to that. But that's just one event that I don't participate in now. Right? I can still be anchoring my bias to that. I can still be compared to that. I can still be judged on that. I can still judge myself on that with the story that's in my head of the reasons, the whys, the things, and it can still be in my head now. Right now, the reasons why I don't do that, or never doing that, or why I did that, what's led me to here, right? And they could be positive or negative. But the thoughts are, there's still active negative thoughts going through me when I recall what I just recalled, right? So, in my breakdown of that, that's a story I have in my mind. Now, there's a debate there is to go, well, that's active. Here we go. That's an active, positive thought. Correct? Well, I think it is. Whether I'm biased to it or not, I may be biased that drinking alcohol does not support progress. taking chemicals. I mean, that can be a philosophy of a buyer or not. And it doesn't mean it's true, but I've got a reasonable, skeptical, critical thinking amount of data layered on top for myself to assert that that's a decision I'm making, and I'll continue to make. So it asserts it enough to continue to make that decision. How's that today? So I can go to a bar right now, I guess, and order some alcohol, right? But the story, the habit, all the bits together in my mind have led me to consider this. And that's and that at least is framed in an active, positive thought process, right? As an example. So imagine you're not doing that. Well, it's probably in an active, negative thought process. So the idea is to look for the decisions I've made where I've got active negative thoughts going through. And I guess it's the same with the positive thoughts. Part of the active positive thoughts is they have to be confirmed, validated, and true as best as my biases will allow me to be. So now we add a word. And it's a real difficult word. And it's active, positive, true thoughts. So you can have active, positive thoughts, active, negative thoughts. I'm useless. I'm this. I'm not that good. I don't think. You can argue those are negative thoughts. You can argue those. I'm framing them in that terminology. You have active, positive thoughts. I'm great. I could beat this. I feel wonderful. I'm happy. Okay? The point with those is the word true. So if you go active, positive, true thoughts, that true now activates critical, for me anyway, critical thinking. I have to be critical about the thought I'm having now. So we stick with the active negative thoughts. I've got negative thoughts going on right now. Oh, I'm injured. Woe is me. I'm sick. Fuck, it's going to last forever. Oh shit, I may never be able to run again. I may never be able to walk again. Whatever's coming into your mind at that time. We're in lockdown. I may never go out again. Blah, blah, blah. Active negative thoughts that are just coming through. Correct? Having the wisdom and the ability to go active, negative, true thoughts. Stick that true in there. That then requires, is it true or not? It requires a question. It requires being curious. It requires now questioning that thought process you're in. Not easy. You have other people telling you, this is happening. The news is telling me, look at this, look at this. So it's a bit of a skill, and it takes a lot of practice. And I guess I've still got a long way to go. But the more I use this acronym of killing ants, killing active negative thoughts. It's a good word, the killing in there. Could argue it's reframing, retelling the story. And you don't need the word killing. All you need is active, negative, true thoughts. Stick the true in there. You have some responsibility there. There's responsibility in working out whether it's true. And depending on how much you want to delve into true from a well, I'll use my perspective, and from a scientific perspective, true requires a lot of evidence, and requires comparing all the biases you have. So I've got a negative thought that oh man, this could kill me. COVID could kill me. Oh, I don't want to get COVID because it could kill me. I'm not going out, I'm not doing that. Well, there's some biases that you're having in your mind with that. So that active negative thought has a lot of bias attached. So active negative true thoughts. COVID could kill me, but so could a lot of things. Okay, so let's take COVID out. There's been sicknesses and transferable diseases probably since the dinosaur. This is nothing new, it's always been there. It's just we're just throwing it in the news. That's just my thought. Hey, doesn't mean I don't start taking some types of precautions about things, but it's just about framing those negative thoughts that start building up and breaking them down to is this true? Is this likely? Is this probable? And then once you do that, you can then work through what's the next stages am I going to do? You can reduce the urgency to things, or maybe there is some action that you have to take based on. So it's very simple to go and work through your negative thoughts and then work through your positive thoughts. So you go, well, that's out of my control. Apparently, there's medication you can take if it bothers you that much. There's recommended research out there that has a reasonable amount of information suggesting taking a vaccination boost that would be advisable. So you make a choice on that one. You go, okay, should I do that or not? Simple as that. Now, am I being biased because the research I've heard and the information I'm getting is mainstream? As I've looked on various points of views, but they kind of all fit within my point of view. I sit here and say that I'm quite neutral on vaccinations. Honestly, I've had the ones at school. Didn't really have a choice on those. They just give it to you. Not too fussed. I remember you used to go, if you went to Singapore or you went to Indonesia, I think malaria or something, people would have to have a certain injection there because of stuff. So didn't hear a lot of fucking hoo-ha about that. I think to myself that the difference with humans at this point in history, I think I think even if I look at humans on the planet right now, the difference in the systems is the health system. And I do have some bias around medication. I 100% do have that. I know even within my house, as soon as someone gets a headache, my children are willing to take something for it. And I'm the opposite. If I have a headache right now, it's not what I do. I allow the symptoms to go through. It's like with my foot. It was throbbing. I put ice on it, did all this stuff that, that I read up about it. And at no time did I take painkillers because I'm still not at that threshold of pain yet, okay? Don't get me wrong. My foot's not broken. It's not mutilated. It's sprained. Okay, it's swollen. There's swelling there. I don't look at some swelling and decide, oh, I need to take fucking 10 of these or 4 of these or 2 of these. I had some uncomfortable nights in bed and the pain's reduced. Now I have no pain. If I'd taken some medication of some description, maybe it would have improved it by a couple of hours or maybe 5 hours. I don't know. Figured out it wasn't necessary. But even through that doesn't mean medication's not a good thing. I don't have that. I'm just using critical and skeptical thinking to get me to that point. That's what I think I'm doing. So I come from a kind of basis where I need a lot of evidence before I'm going to take stuff or take anything in particular to supposedly solve the problem. Maybe I don't have the right mindset of saying, well, this is just get rid of the pain. Get rid of the pain. The rest will happen anyway. And that was a good thing. Getting rid of the pain right now. And so I can see value in that. I also see value in riding it out as well for a while. Right or wrong, letting the body work through the pain to a degree. So I think we have active positive thoughts. Then you go active positive true thoughts. I guess that keeps it in perspective as well, is because thinking positively and all that sort of stuff, I'll debate and argue that's a better way to think. It generally is. Doesn't mean it's perfect. But I think questioning the negative thoughts I've got and then framing them into positive thoughts, the bit about making them true is the piece. It's no point just when I'm feeling shit saying I'm happy. Probably not proactive enough, and probably not gonna stay in the you're not going to stay motivated with that, I wouldn't think. Whereas active positive thoughts, it's normally actioning. Active positive true thoughts, it's questioning, it's It's normally doing, what can I do? What am I going to do? What discussion can I have about it with someone? In a positive thing. So from the positive frame, to get true in there, will take some help. Will take asking. Will take sharing. Will take listening. Will take researching things a little bit more. Will take verifying, right? But even then, you got to make sure that you're not being biased in how you're going about making it true. Okay? Not easy. And you may find yourself in the same pattern. But generally, positive thoughts, as long as it's not with the true in there, then all of a sudden, if you're skeptical, think that through, got it to be truthful, now at least you're able to keep taking on more information, generally. That generally will only happen if you've embraced the whole process, though. Kind of won't happen if you're continually to tell your story as the truth, right? So if I'm continuing to disagree with everything that's going on and have those constantly going through my head, because you got to remember that one negative thought is usually accustomed with 5 to 10 thoughts that conclude to that active negative thought, and then something else sparks you to go back into that thought. You read on the news, you have to wear a mask. Oh, fuck. I disagree with this whole shit anyway. And then it sticks me back into there. See, negative. That triggers me off. Oh, I've got to go to the shops. Oh, and I've got to wear a mask. And then when I was there, I asked someone else and they said they're going to wear a mask and they're upset too. See, they confirm that it's stupid. So that means 5 of us think it's stupid. So we know it's stupid. It's just stupid. It's ridiculous. You see what I mean? Already got a lot of baggage there just on one piece that was not really required. Didn't change one thing, but it did change my mindset, or it did keep my mindset the same, right? It allows me to now come home, share with the same people at home all the crap about what I disagree with or what I agree with and who's not doing something. And on both sides of the fence. Go to the shops, someone didn't wear a mask. Holy fuck. Wasn't even wearing a mask. Come home, tell everybody, fucking hell, I was out there, this one person wasn't wearing a mask. Shot. So, you see, both opinions, both negative thoughts the whole time. Instead of, I went to the shops, I wore my mask, I grabbed my fucking groceries, I left. Don't care if no one had a mask on, don't care if everybody was doing whatever the fuck they want. It makes no difference to me. Don't ask me whether I agree or disagree. Other people say, well, you're conforming. You're just doing what everyone. Yeah, maybe. But if here's one for you. I don't know. I don't 100% know. I don't know how much safer I'm going to be in a road accident with a fucking seatbelt on. Don't know. There may be one particular type of car crash that I have where the seatbelt was worse or where the seatbelt was better. Don't know. But these fucking quite intelligent people do these model things and they fucking smash cars into each other from all sorts of ways with these dummies of humans in there, the same size and kind of structure and how they're sitting. And they strap one of them in and the other one they don't. And of the research and the fucking crap that they've done over decades of since these accidents started happening, from riding a horse and colliding and falling off a horse and what's happened to you, to a car is evolved into what it is now. And those race car drivers that are riding around, all of them have a seatbelt. And they have more than that. They have these straps in and these things. You can say, oh, fuck. So I go, well, I don't know. But you know what? I'm probably better off putting the fucking seatbelt on. Probably. Whether I agree or not, fucking hell, no. Auntie Mavis had her fucking seatbelt out and she died. She died. Okay. Okay, there's not enough evidence, I'm afraid. Or let's stick that there with that, and let's stick that there with compared to all this. So you see what I mean? So a seatbelt in a car, and whether I'm convinced or not convinced that a mask works or doesn't work. Okay, well, similar thing. Quite a lot of smart people advocating for this at this point. What's the worst that's going to happen to me if I put the mask on when suggested? What will happen to me? Not a lot. Not a lot. I've got a hat on. If they say, look, you've got to wear a hat, I might say, oh, fuck that. Wear a hat. What? All the time? Wear a mask over your freaking face. Fuck that. Okie dokie. So, yeah. So, I guess that's one way to frame how I'm doing something, what to do within the rationales. And then see how that's turned a negative thought to a positive thought just by being critical and skeptical about it. And then even taking the example and applying it somewhere else, or something else that I do or don't do. And then there's a good one for the egomaniacs, is to go, I'm not the smartest person on the planet. I'm not smarter about cars than the car industry. Is that how I'd say it? I'm just not. I'm not as good about the science behind it, about the technology, all that stuff. I'm not smarter than that. Just not. And so with biology and human makeup and all the chemical nuances that go into what happens to me through life. I just don't have enough. So I'm going to need information. And so I'm going to need to work through my biases on whether I'm anchoring on information and whether I'm using blind spot bias, fucking survivorship bias, overconfidence, gambler's fallacies, questioning and looking through how I came to that conclusion works. It works for everything I apply it to. So for me, active, positive, true thoughts is complicated, and you have to use critical, skeptical thinking. Even in the presence of your biases, it's not that you'll eliminate your biases, it's just to continue to develop on them. So you can even go, I disagree, but I'm doing this, and be okay with it. I disagree, but I'm doing this. Now, when you disagree, but you're doing this, if you use active, positive thought, true thoughts, is I put the mask on, nothing's going to fucking happen to me if I do it. Rather than going, this is a waste of time, this is fucking stupid, this is all this stuff, you can leave all that out. That wasn't required. That's negative thoughts. You see what I'm doing here? Get those away. Wear the mask. And use positive thoughts and going, I'm not smart enough to know if this is, but I'm doing this as a precaution, as a experiment, as a learning exercise, and knowing that I'm not taking in all this extra crap, layering all that stuff on top of it, and then doing it anyway, or not doing it, it's still residue from, it still lingers around with you, whether you like it or not, right? It's like going and protesting about something. I'm not opposed to protesting, and I agree with protesting. But you don't know. You honestly don't know enough. And when you don't know enough, that's dangerous. And so you got to weigh up the pros and cons, and then question how you got to that position. And I think that will be difficult. It'll be difficult. So yeah, that's my active, positive, true thoughts process. Requires a lot. It makes for a good. It makes for a. What's it make for? It makes for a framework of doing things a lot less ego-driven. How's that? Especially that one bit about saying I'm not smart enough to know. I'm smart enough to know things, but not smart enough. But being smart enough to know that I don't know everything. That's a hard one, right?